But we start now at 11 tonight with breaking news. The Sumter County Sheriff makes a startling confession and has gotten one of his own deputies behind bars. That deputy is accused of spying on her husband's ex-wife. Good evening. I'm Ashley Garrett. And as a result, Sheriff Pat Breeden has suspended the use of one of law enforcement's most powerful tools. That is cameras that read license plates. They're called flock cameras. Well, here's how the sheriff made that announcement tonight on Facebook.
Today, I had to arrest one of my own for misuse of multiple law enforcement databases. It is difficult to express my extreme disappointment in the actions this detective chose to take. I assured you I would not tolerate behavior that does not align with our standards of professionalism and integrity. And as a direct result of her actions, this detective has been both terminated and arrested.
Until tonight, this woman here, Deputy Brandy Almany, was a detective. She has been with the sheriff's office since 2019. A criminal case kicked off earlier today, and it finds she improperly used law enforcement databases for personal reasons. Those databases include the Comprehensive Case Information System, or the CCIS, the Driver and Vehicle Information Database, or DAVID, and the Flock License Plate Readers.
While I do believe these systems are a valuable tool for law enforcement, due to these circumstances, I have ordered a complete internal audit of all the databases, and I have suspended the use of Flock at the Sumter County Sheriff's Office.
Well, the sheriff says Detective Almany was interviewed and immediately suspended from duty, and now she's under arrest and will be fired. She is set to face a judge tomorrow. You can watch the sheriff's full statement on our website, clickorlando.com.
Welcome back, fightflock.com. In today's video, we're going to discuss another case of Flock database misuse and abuse by law enforcement. Today's case brings us to the state of Florida, Sumter County, Florida. Another law enforcement officer has been fired and charged for misusing the Flock system in Sumter County, Florida. Today, we introduce you to Brandy Almany. She was, the key word was, a detective for Sumter County Sheriff's Department. And she was apparently, allegedly, she was stalking her husband's ex-wife. So her current husband, apparently married at least twice, she was stalking the ex-wife. So that is why she was fired and charged as a result. So this case is no different than the many other cases that we have covered on fightflock.com. And this is a little more concerning because she was a detective. A detective is a high-ranking official in a police department or a sheriff's department, and you would think they would have more sense and they could trust them a little more because they're gathering evidence, they're getting people convicted, they're sending people to prison all the time, okay? And that is, in my opinion, a little concerning because it's a detective in this case, just not a street cop or a beat cop. And again, that's my opinion, okay? And she has, as a detective, she, if you look up the Sumter County court docket, I checked it out. There's part of the docket here. I look back like 2 years, and she's put, there was like 40 cases with her involved in certain cases where she's put people in prison. And I only looked back a couple of years, right? I just scanned through it real quick, but she is responsible for incarcerating people, okay? And you know, supposedly we're supposed to trust this Brandy lady, right? And that is, to me, the biggest concern is someone that's at a position of trust is actually a tyrant, okay? And can't be trusted, all right? That's got to be to me, that's the lowest of lows, all right? She is like a snake, in my opinion. So Brandy Almany, she was hired in 2019 by Sumter County Sheriff's Department, fired on, looks like July 23rd, 2026. She was fired and charged on the same day. She's charged with 4 felony counts, which is a good thing. Okay, that's a good thing. Looks like falsifying records is 1 count. Unauthorized use of the Flock database system. Unauthorized access to the DAVID system, DAVID, that's Driver and Vehicle Database System, that's in Florida. And also unauthorized access to the CCIS system, which is like a FBI database. That system has a lot of information on a lot of people. Nowadays, with technology, we're probably all in that system. But if you've been in trouble, you probably have a little more information in that system. So she, again, is facing 4 felony charges. Her next court date is August 14, 2026. So Brandy here, she was checking up on her husband's ex-wife. So it's a lot of insecurity going on there. Obviously, it's a crime of passion. She's using different databases to do this crime, which is crazy in itself. She is what I call a tyrant. Again, she is definitely an A1 tyrant, and they come in all shapes and sizes. Okay, and in this case, I looked at 2019. She's only been there 7 years, and she's already a detective. That's pretty wild. Most companies, you have to work your way up. It takes 10, 15 years to work your way up that high. A detective is very high ranking. So unless she was already a detective prior to that, I can't say for sure there. So let's see. She was she listed as reasons for the investigating. She put on the flock database when she was flocking this ex-wife. She was flocking this ex-wife. She put investigations as the reason. So that was the one-word reason of what she was, why she was using the flock database. And all these cops do that, right? They just put one word in there. That's all they have to do, right? There's no, like, they can't, make a sentence, at least explain what you're trying to do or who you're checking on. It's just a one-word input, and that's a flaw in the system, I think, in itself. My local county here, Cherokee County, Georgia, they flocked me a year ago, and they did the same thing. They put in the reason investigations. That's all they did. One word, reason investigations, which to me is not much information there. So the sheriff, Pat Breeden, he's the sheriff of Sumter County. I will give him a little credit. I always try to give credit where credit is due. Pat Breeden, he come out and made a video statement, basically telling the public that they're going to audit do a better audit on the system. They're going to reevaluate everything they're doing. And he made a videotape statement, which I do respect that. And he suspended the use of the flock database system for now until they do their audit investigation there in Sumter County. So he has suspended use of flock in his county, and that is somewhat respectful there. Again, and giving credit where credit is due. In my local county, again, Sherman County, Georgia, here, my sheriff, we had 4 or 5 cops fired last month, and you didn't hear Hinder here from the sheriff. He has a spokesperson. You didn't hear from her either. She makes about 150 G's a year. You didn't hear from her either. And they gave like a 2-sentence prepackaged press release on the incident. And that's all we heard, or that's all we got out of Cherokee County, Georgia, here in my county where I live. So this is going forward. Flock is going forward. Flock has some issues here lately. If you look back the last couple of months, Flock is been in the news a lot. If you look at social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all these platforms, whatever platform you're on, Flock has been getting a lot of bad publicity. You hear about the cameras getting torn down, run over, spray painted. Obviously the vandalism is been really it's been on the rise here lately, which is in my opinion a good thing. Okay, I'm not condoning violence, but in my opinion, it is a good thing. So Flock is on a rope. Flock is on the ropes. We got Flock on the ropes right now, using a boxing analogy. So really the last couple months, and 2 years ago when I started FightFlock.com, there was, we started talking about Flock cameras, and most people had no clue what the heck that was, and there was a few of us out there talking about it. But fast forward 2 years later, a lot of folks are getting educated on this Flock stuff, and that was the whole purpose of FightFlock.com, was to educate folks on these spy cameras going up all over the place. And everyone I've talked to over the years, most people had no clue this was going on. Okay, now people are starting to wake up, and this is a good thing. So I think Flock is again on the ropes, and I think they're going to have to make some. They're going to have to do some image adjustment. They're going to probably start running commercials on TV or something, probably, because they have to fix their image, right? And get ready for all the puff ads about how great Flock is and how they're catching criminals and carjackers and cat burglars and all this stuff. And in fact, just the other day, I saw a couple news reports about how Flock caught this person, that person, and Flock is going to be pushing those videos hard, trying to leak those to the local press and try to get out the information as fast as they can on how great Flock is and how it's catching all these criminals all over the place, right? So they got work to do on their image, because again, the last couple of months, I've seen a big increase in bad publicity for for flock, and that's a good thing for us. And again, flock is a violation of our Fourth Amendment. It is a search without a warrant, and it needs to go. It is obviously, it is, it's got to go to Supreme Court, like we always talk about. We've got to defeat it there. So that is hopefully in the next year or two we will get there. But until then, we're going to have folks like this Brandy Almany, Brandy here. Oh, Brandy, she's she was another tyrant caught misusing the flock database system. She hopefully she will face the music, and hopefully she will eventually get some prison time. Don't hold your breath, because the blue line hookup is probably in play here. It's alive and well. She is she's only 40 years old. I just looked here. Yeah, she's only 40 years old, and although that's pretty mature, so there should be no excuses there. But I think she should spend 2 years in prison minimum on all these felony charges. But don't count on it, because she'll probably get probation, if that, and maybe 50 hours of community service, and she'll walk away free, scot-free, essentially. Me or you, we would probably end up with prison time. But this case, no different than all the other cases I've covered on this channel. Tyrants just running wild. Tyrants running wild, misusing and abusing their power. Nothing worse than that. Okay, again, a bad cop, a dirty cop is worse than a criminal. I've told you that before. Is worse than a criminal. A criminal don't make promises. A criminal doesn't try to be a good person. They're just looking out for themselves. They're not swearing to an oath to uphold the law and the Constitution, but these cops are doing that. They're upholding swearing on the Holy Bible to uphold the Constitution, and they're failing to do so, and they're failing us, the public. Okay, so a dirty cop is worse than a criminal. I would argue that point all day long. So we'll file this case. We'll try to see what happens with her and the others too that we have covered. We've been busy here lately. FightFlock.com. There's a lot of cases coming out with misuse and abuse. It's really it's coming out faster than I can even cover it. Just trying to cover the cases that I see are really interesting, and maybe we'll go back and catch up on some. But we got work to do, that's for sure. But thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and spread the word on these spy cameras. And I thank you for your support. Appreciate it.